Ji, Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Saab.
Salam.
This is Shehzad calling from Toronto. I've joined the meeting after, I've been a regular, basically contributor also. Just wanted to ask you about the treatment of animals,
hmm
specifically when it comes to testing on animals.
hmm
Are we allowed to partake in any activity
hmm
that we might consider to be beneficial for mankind or humankind? That this
Yes, I
includes.
would say so. The
Okay.
testing of medicines. So you see, what makes me believe that we are allowed to do so is that the Quran has specified this on many occasions that the animals have been created for us, for our service, for our food, for our transportation, and for any other use that we find that we can gain from them. So I would analogously think that if we can experiment on our animals and we are able to produce medicines which are ultimately life-saving or even in any way beneficial for human beings, then this is something that should be allowed. The only thing is that as far as possible, anything that amounts to cruelty or anything that amounts to inflicting pain on them must be avoided as far as possible, unless, of course, the nature of the experiment is such that you cannot help it.
Yes, sir. That's what my basically that's where I was actually gravitating towards was that we see all these experiments that are done. They are pretty cruel. These animals, dogs, monkeys, they
Mm-hmm.
actually go through lots of pain. And
Mm.
if you go
Right.
through just some of the documents only, what they went through,
Mm.
it's like it seems to me very inhumane. So my question again was just regarding that you know what, yes, we're
Mm.
looking forward to and might actually contribute towards
Mm.
something beneficial coming out of this for the humans, but to
Mm.
put animals through that cruelty. uh,
Yes, that's something. I mean, we need to weigh what we do. We should do is we should weigh our options. I mean, if there is a chance that you can maybe produce something which is really a game changer or a lifesaver, uh, maybe that is something that can be tolerated. But yes, I would also think that being compassionate to animals is also very, very important. Any such experiment which can uh, put them into prolonged pain. I mean, one thing is that you put them into some temporary pain, maybe a couple of minutes or something like that, or maybe some sort of short period. But if it is something like a prolonged thing in which it goes on for days or maybe even more, so I personally think that this should not be done.
okay, I understand, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I would like to add a little bit more here, just as somebody who works with animals and does experiments on them myself. We
Mm-hmm.
have review committee boards that before you even start anything, you have to specify what you're going to do exactly, what's the purpose, why you're doing that, and what kind of material you're going to be collecting from all of this. And then moving forward, how many animals you're going to use. So in
Mm.
no time are they put in any unnecessary pain. If we find
Mm.
that our experiments that their quality of life is doing poorly, depending again on the experimental design. If you are trying to test chronic pain, you cannot avoid,
Mm.
just with you can't have the same effect with just testing for acute pain because some things have long-term impacts. And I would much rather do clinical trials and tests initially on animals than on humans because a lot of these things are also to see, are these things that will later start to give to humans that's like we might end up seeing these effects in humans. So just to see, because there are some people, for example, Peter, that
Mm-hmm.
make the argument that, oh, you can test these things in cells or in organoids. And these
Mm.
models, they let you test to a certain degree. And yes, those
Mm.
things are also done. But then you move on to the animal models because you don't know how different types of cells are going to be interacting with each other and if there are going to be side effects elsewhere in the body that you might not
Correct.
expect. So that's why, just coming from a scientific perspective, it's very important for these tests to be held and to not discourage from animal studies, but also do it very compassionately, very
Mm-hmm.
mindfully. I hope that adds a little bit more
It
Mm-hmm.
it
context.
does. It does. Thank you so very much. It's so heartening to hear that, there are still ethical standards in place that I can minimize the pain.
Absolutely.
Right.
We can't do anything with it. There are very strict standards.
Correct. Otherwise, we'll have animal rights organizations. They will just make it difficult for them to do any sort of experiment as it is. And even besides that, even if we don't have any such organizations, it's a basic human, I would say, value that we have to look after such individuals as such life forms and life beings who are dependent on us and who cannot defend themselves if we use force against them. So I think this is a basic human ethic that we have to follow at all cost.
Thank you, sir.